This is an Animated Anarchy mini episode. You can hear these episodes a month in advance by supporting us on Patreon. Just go to patreon.com/Andrew Dickman. Thank you so much for your support.
SpongeBob. Okay.
All right, we're gonna be a little newsy with this.
And also going to be a
discussion.
little rudesy.
Yeah, a little rudesy.
So watch.
Please bear with us because this is like, okay. The latest news has been that a R-rated
CG
animated movie by Seth Rogen is coming out, like, when? Later this year?
Yeah, like in a few months.
And the entire script leaked online.
Someone leaked the entire script of the movie.
Someone leaked the script. It was probably someone who worked on it, I'm sure. But for the longest time, it's like I thought to myself, like, this can't be real. This had to have been someone who just, like, wrote this up
in a day.
I would not doubt that. I know people who are dedicated to being trolls, and they will seriously just look at the trailer. And speaking of, we need to talk about the trailer. They will look at the trailer and they're just like, I can predict this, and they'll write it down and then they'll post it and they'll pretend it. This might as well be the entire movie. What we read. Well, you read all the way. I
was dared. Here's what happened. I was dared. I wasn't dared. I saw people say I got 2 pages in, or 5 pages in, or 10 pages in, and I couldn't read it. I said, you know what? I think I'm strong.
Yeah,
I think I have a strong will. I'm going to read all 106 pages of the script. And I read it. Immediate regret. It's so, like, I am not easily offended by much. Yeah. Like, I'm very lax. I mean, even if you throw a 9/11 joke, being a New Yorker, someone threw a 9/11 joke at me, I'd be like, yeah, but it is kind of funny. Very seldom, though. But this movie, every page, something on each page offended me. Yeah. And it bothered me just because reading it made me almost sick.
I got nauseous reading it. I was just like...
In-depth orgy scene, like description of an orgy scene.
I didn't read that. I got to the...
Let's read it now.
By the 500th fuck, I just decided
Which is only on the
reading.
5th or 6th page,
Yeah,
right?
exactly. When I was reading this, the first thing that came to my mind is like, oh, well, we got to get an R rating. This can't be like, those cartoons. We got to put like a lot of fucks and shits in it. So make sure that every sentence has a fuck or shit on it. So you do that. I'll be in my room smoking a joint.
Why is Seth Rogen a businessman?
No.
Why is he like J. Jonah Jameson?
This is a producer probably talking to Seth Rogen.
Well, Seth Rogen was the producer too.
Seth Rogen is just there like, this is funny.
Yeah. But the thing is, I found out that they spent almost a decade trying to get this movie off the ground.
Why? Why would you fight for this?
No, because they wanted to go against when Pixar was on its high horse. I guess when Cars was coming out.
Yeah,
Cars is 10 years old.
Yeah, like you're really sticking it to the man, Rogen. I mean, come on, really? Yeah. The first, it's the whole, what is it? The North Korea movie that they made.
Oh, they did The Interview.
Yeah, The Interview, and then there was like, oh, why are you making a big deal about this?
I'm just a stupid baby.
Yeah, exactly.
But
it was like, oh, it's just a joke, and it's like.
This movie caters to the
and
it's people, an ad. It's like it's really feels like 8 Crazy Nights. It's just the lowest common denominator of very almost insensitive humor. A lot of one-dimensional ethnic stereotypes.
Yeah, that's
a Jewish bagel hates a Muslim Arab pita bread, and they hate each other and they want each other dead. Why'd you come into my territory? Firewater, the Native American bottle of whiskey. There's a character named El Guaco who is a Mexican, and he attempts to sexually assault the bun who has a vagina mouth.
God, every time.
And there's an in-depth orgy scene. There's torture scenes.
See, the thing is that there's certain things.
There's a duty scene with Duty.
The villain is a douche, like
a literal douche.
That and that's supposed to be the humor of it.
And he said at one point, "You deflowered me," and all this stuff. And I'm reading the script. I was disgusted. There's severed limbs. characters getting killed graphically.
Well, the thing is like when I saw that in the trailer, and it's like it's animals. And it's animals. It's food being ripped apart, and it's like that's honestly, if this was a robot chicken joke, I would find that hilarious because it's like, oh, haha, that's
all you need
funny.
is a minute or 30 seconds.
This is, and seriously, all you need is like a couple minutes because this is what the annoying orange was. The annoying orange was basically the annoying orange saying his stupid shit, and then whatever food was next to him got picked up, and then they would just like scream because they were being tortured. They'd be like an egg, and then they would crack it. It was like, oh my god! Ah!
Yeah, and I mean, like I even said it before. I'm not going to go into it now, but there were times where I was just asking questions like we did with Cars. A while ago, Andrew and I did a commentary for Cars, and we were just asking why. We were just saying why for 2 hours.
But the thing about that movie Cars is that it's a very sophisticated movie in that I know that they put thought into it and that they were trying to make things work. But when you try really hard to make something work, people are going to question things that don't necessarily work. It's like, like, oh, we came up with this idea that everything is push button, for the cars. So it's like when cars need to do something, they push a button and then a gear will come down. But then you get into territory where it's like, okay, they have a desk
with
and
pens and pencils on it,
and now they have
newspaper clippings,
and there's a frame. How did they put that frame up?
How does a car properly mat a picture into a picture frame?
All of the stuff surrounding them has already been placed by a crew of human beings for these actors who are cars to drive through. And with this, it's like, okay, the food... Jesus, why are we doing this?
Why does food know what fucking is, but not what being eaten is?
Yeah,
or eating is?
And it's like they talk about, like, all the humans are gods and they take them to...
The great unknown.
The great unknown.
The great beyond.
The great beyond. And it's like some sort of like, oh, here, there's like some false hope that they're going into a greater land, but instead they're being ripped and torn apart.
And eaten.
And some great concepts were coming up, like, okay, there's a pizza. There's a sentient pizza. But then you think about it, to make a pizza, you need to make marinara sauce, which is made of tomatoes and cheese. And dough, and then you have like tomatoes
and pepperoni and all those other
and pepperonis
toppings.
And cheese, and they're being torn apart. They would know that they were torn apart to make this pizza.
Are they reborn into pizza? Another thing too is like some of them like,
and this is stupid. I don't know why we're getting into it like this.
We don't want to. Let's not do it because we're gonna talk for another half hour about like okay, so a can of spaghetti has eyes and talks, but the spaghetti itself.
We'll just be questioning this for hours.
Exactly,
and it doesn't need it. It doesn't deserve it.
I brought up a great point earlier. I said, think of it this way, like. Imagine if this was a kid's movie. I mean, it's not, but imagine.
It's not.
Think of it this way: like for a lot of people, and I sincerely believe this, movies like Brave Little Toaster and Toy Story spawned an entire generation of hoarders. Only because by watching a movie like Toy Story or Brave Little Toaster, you anthropomorphize and project an emotion and a personality onto a non-living creature or object, and then by doing so. It's like naming a pet, and then once you name it, you're attached to it. By personifying an inanimate object, it makes it harder for you to get rid of it because you project a personality onto it.
Yeah.
Imagine, and then you feel guilty about throwing a toy or a toaster or a blanket away.
Yeah, but
imagine with food. Now with this movie, you feel guilty about fucking eating. A necessary act.
But given that sort of sentimentality aside, it's like I understand what they're trying to do. It's like they're trying to take the trope of let's take something and make it sentient, and it's like the world of this object. It's like what can we make like through the eyes of food, and I can see that as a movie. And the concept itself doesn't bother me. It's the fact of how they go about it. To make this quote-unquote adult is to basically just say, like, you know what? Make this as filthy as possible. Make it about racism. Make it about fucking. Make it about saying the word fuck and shit a lot. And make
stereotypes, cheap jokes, dirty jokes.
And it's like, I don't know anymore how to make an adult, sophisticated thing anymore without making it extreme.
In America, in this case, because in Japan or in France,
because no one takes it seriously
Right,
here,
right.
And this is why, honestly, I feel that people like Seth Rogen, who believe that this is the funniest shit they've ever seen, and this will make them go up in the ranks of like R-rated, like, we made the first R-rated
CGI
movie.
South Park did it.
Yeah, South Park.
20, almost 20 years ago.
Yeah, and honestly, I think that movie is way more sophisticated than what this script I read. I mean, with South Park, it's like there's actually a good story to it. It's like the concept of South Park is about like taking real world problems and making it look like, you know, idiocy.
Yeah.
And that's what it is. This is taking idiocy and making it into a movie.
Yeah.
You know, it's like,
and the thing is, it's not treated with any sort of reverence. Nothing is treated with reverence. There's no motive, there's no moral.
No.
I mean, not every movie needs a moral, but at the same time,
I
this movie just caters to the lowest common denominator in terms of trying to appease an audience.
Yeah, no, they didn't want to appease an audience. They wanted to appease themselves. They were just like, you know what, there's no movies out there that say fucking shit and as a cartoon.
Yeah.
So let's do it now.
The Japanese, the French, they've been doing movies like this for the last 30, 40 years.
Yeah.
And they know because we're making an animated movie. Oh, is it for kids? No, it's for everybody.
Yeah.
Every Miyazaki movie, every Studio Ghibli film, 90% of all French animated films are just beautiful movies that cater to everybody, and they tell a story, and whether a kid can follow or not, it's just a movie. Here, it's like you have to cater to kids, and if you cater to adults, you have to make it adult-oriented. Like we just talked about Zootopia. What a mature movie that was.
Yeah.
Mature as hell.
Yeah.
Great movie. And it appeals to kids, it appeals to adults, but it appeals on an equal level. It never talks down to them, it never talks above. It's just straight on, and everybody, whether you're young, old, male, female, can attach themselves and take something out of this movie. This movie does none of that. And
having watched Deadpool, which honestly I have my own complaints about it, that it's like it kind of goes a little too far in that in the fact that, yeah, they do say fucking shit a lot, and why does that need to be said every freaking sentence? And I say it as I cuss.
Freaking.
Say you're freaking. But it's like you taking that idea, a concept of the way it has to be adult is it has to be this way.
Right.
And I can't stand that. I honestly and I know that there is an audience for it, and you know what, if you enjoy it, that's fine. I watched Deadpool. I understand the audience that enjoyed that, and a ton of people loved it, and I honestly thought it was funny. I thought that movie was hilarious, but it was like, with this, I feel like they're trying to make a statement for something that I don't really think they believe in.
Yeah.
They don't. It's like, why? The people who made Deadpool fought to make that made because they felt that Deadpool was honestly not, like, he was not represented very well in the movies. And they wanted to make like a really good Marvel-esque movie about Deadpool the way he is portrayed in the comics. And that's understandable. That's a reason to fight for it. Here, it's like, we're going to make an adult CG movie, and we're gonna do whatever the hell we want with it, and it's gonna be what exactly is the point to it?
How are they gonna promote this thing?
Yeah, that's another,
like, even like Hell and Back, where
there is no way that you're gonna tell me that. I mean, I know people are stupid. People parents brought their kids to go see Deadpool because they thought it would be like other Marvel movie, because they don't look into these things.
Right.
They buy their kids GTA 5 because
Are they going to tie in this movie to a supermarket? Like how it's like, but yeah, people are like, how do you?
But when you see that like on a billboard or something, you're just gonna see it's like, oh, it's another kids movie, and I'm gonna take my kids to see that because people are stupid,
right?
And then they're gonna complain about it, and then there's gonna be a whole kerfuffle about it,
and
then Seth Rogen's just gonna like laugh at them because he's an idiot.
So the thing about this particularly is that, first of all, how do you market this thing?
Yeah.
2, people are probably gonna go see
Albertsons.
it. Yeah, people are probably gonna go see it for the shock value alone.
Well, that's the thing. People will see it because they're curious enough to see where are they going to take this.
Like I was talking to a friend about Hell and Back, which came out. Shadow Machine did it. It was a stop motion movie.
That came and went.
And most people I know who've worked on it have to nervously laugh because they put a lot of hard work into that movie.
Right.
And the same thing goes with this movie. Obviously, the animation quality in this movie is pretty good.
It looks great. I mean, it looks fantastic, and I'll have to say that I chuckled a couple times at like some of the jokes that were happening, but it was mostly visual. It was like, just the fact that they animated it so well, and I guess that's why it should be commended, because it's like an adult-oriented movie that has good animation.
Look at something like 8 Crazy Nights. Most of the people who animated 8 Crazy Nights are people who animated on like Iron Giant right before it.
Yeah, exactly.
And DreamWorks movies like Prince of Egypt. Mm-hmm. Then they're going and working on a movie where, Adam Sandler like shits.
Yeah, where a bunch of deer like lick crap
off of an old man, and the guy has a seizure. Like, a job is a job, and art can be in anything.
Yeah.
But you almost question like I would love to know what the production was like on this movie. Yeah. Did everyone have a good time? Was there a lot of overhead? I don't know. What was it like rigging the inside of a piece of broken lettuce? Like what? Like I don't know. Like how much work? Because you have to create one of these characters and then kill them and dissect them into pieces. Like those baby carrots that get chewed up in the mouth. Mm-hmm. You have to model it and then break it up and then still have them be like. How do you model the inside of a carrot once
and stuff like this? It's like I'm not even questioning the whole the gravitas about it. I mean, it's like this stuff is going to happen, and I'm just like, this wouldn't have been such a big deal to me had I not read the script. Because
I regret reading the script.
Yeah, well, you regret reading it. I regret reading 15 pages of it.
Yeah.
You regret reading the whole thing, and I feel sorry for you.
Well, the thing is, there's moments in it that made me wince.
Yeah.
Like, really, like, there's a whole heroin scene. And first of all, like, knowing people who have done heroin, mm-hmm. It's tough. I mean, it's something that everybody can... The fact that they joke about it, yeah. And 2, at one point, heroin is making the guy hallucinate, and it's like... I'm not an aficionado.
Right.
I've never dabbled in heroin, and I never will, like any drug. But heroin does not make you hallucinate and see talking food.
I don't know. Maybe it did to Seth Rogen. I mean,
I don't know. I would love to know. Like, I would not love, but I would be curious to know what the genesis of this was. Like, he probably smoked a huge blunt and says, "Oh my God!" He picked up some Oreos and accidentally the back fell off, and he goes.
Yeah, but that's the basis of most of his movies.
Did he feel that? Dude. It's so weird because we just watched Kung Fu Panda recently, and he was while he was recording, he was like, "Oh man, this movie sucks. I'm going to do an even better movie. It's going to have sausages and vagina mouth hot dog buns and racist food and a douche." And like, okay, it's like, okay, food is alive, but also toilet paper.
Sure, why not? It makes for a great joke because I'm sure someone wipes his ass with it.
Yeah. Well, the thing about there's some really awful duty scenes in this movie, and I say duty because I try to lighten the load instead of saying shit or feces. But
it'll still be less than what the
there's
script
one
had.
joke that I read in the script that actually made me laugh, and it was that there's a nebbishy Jewish bagel and a Arab angry pita bread character.
Yeah.
And at one point, someone mentions hummus. And he goes, "I didn't know you knew hummus." "Oh, yeah, I'm good friends with hummus. So am I. I'm also good friends with hummus. He's one of my best friends." maybe we do have more in common. Nah, fuck you. Like that. The fact that like just there's a moment where the Jewish bagel and the pita bread know who hummus is, and like, oh, that's their connecting tissue that makes them. We're all connected.
Yeah,
we know hummus. At the same time, it's like, wait, hummus is one jar of hummus. Is it hummus in general? Is it a being? Which hummus did they meet?
Yeah, how long have this food been on the shelf?
Right, true, because they're like, they know what 4th of July is. There's a scene where they're like, oh, the day of red, white, and blue day.
Yeah.
And they're like, that's the day. But the thing is, hot dogs.
Is there a church of food or something where they learn about
Yeah,
all
and
this?
also there's a group of people, the non-perishables, and it's a gay Twinkie. Get it? And a racist black thing of Uncle Tom's rice.
No.
And I remember reading that specific sentence and just literally doing what you did and I literally put my head in my hands and rubbed my temples and went, okay. And he talks with the most like...
I'm just like curious. Is this supposed to be funny? Is it supposed to be funny that it's so shocking that it's like, oh, this is so racist, it has to be laughed at. It's like they recognize that it's like a racist thing, but it's like, but this is why it's like, it's so the opposite of Zootopia. Is that they recognize the concept, but they treat it in a way where it's like...
Racism is funny.
Yeah, well, no. I mean, like with Zootopia, it's like they treat it with respect.
Right. Sausage Party, on the other hand.
Sausage Party treats it in a way where it's like, let's make it a stand-up routine where... Oh, my God.
It is like... This is what it feels like. It feels like a... who's the guy who does the puppets?
Oh, God.
Who he has Ahmed, the dead terrorist.
Yeah,
it just feels like
the one that every comedian just hates because even they won't step boundaries he's stepped in.
Not Jim Gaffigan. I don't want to associate with him.
I can't remember.
But that guy, it's like that. It just feels like it's like we're gonna have a dead terrorist joke. We're gonna have a retarded character joke.
Yeah, I mean, like it's like there's ways to make it funny. Like there are ways to make these type of things funny. It's just how it's presented and how you can kind of dance around the fact that it's like, we were talking about Mel Brooks movies. I mean, like with the
and I found out today, I guess it's a very small role. He does a voice in this movie.
Oh, that doesn't surprise me.
It looks like my grandmother's boobies.
That honestly doesn't shock me. Oh my God, I can't talk about.
Let's
this
not
anymore.
talk about this anymore. We're gonna keep going in circles.
Yeah, this is
so.
If
you're curious, and if you're willing to take a risk, and it's a challenge, the script. If you just Google Sausage Party script leak, wiki leak, you will find the entire script for the movie. It's 106 pages.
If you want to read it, make it a challenge and see how far you'll go, or make it a drinking game. You'll die immediately.
Tell us which page you got to when you got offended.
Yeah.
Or when you felt like, oh my God. when you openly sighed or groaned, usually it's going to be the first 2 or 3 pages. Yeah. But see how far you can get, and let me know what you think
listen,
after.
I try really hard to reserve judgment of things
until you see it.
Before I see it. This I don't want to see. I really don't want to see it.
I don't not want to see.
I mean, look, I was genuinely curious with the trailer, and I was like, this is probably something that I could manage to watch just for a review.
Oh, no.
But then the script came out, and I'm just like, there is no way I'm going to be able to watch this.
Me visualizing what is being read in the script in my head makes me sick. Seeing it actually on a screen in a theater while trying to eat popcorn and drink soda, I would never be able to get through the movie without vomiting.
We are artistic minds. We work in this business. We know how things can be boarded and how they can be animated. And when we visualize a script, this is what we have to do for a living. We have to visualize a script, how it's going to be presented, and we pretty much know exactly how it's going to be, how it's going to turn out. So, if you're really curious, have at it. Go ahead.
Don't blame us.
Don't blame us.
Your curiosity is enough of a.
The fact that I was curious enough to read the script makes me hurt.
And you didn't even read the entire script.
No,
you only got like one-sixth through it.
I felt bad. I just felt really, really bad. And call me a lightweight if you want, but that's just. I
mean, I can't stand gory movies. I can't stand blood or violence in movies. Not because I'm against
And
it,
I
just
can
because I'm
tolerate a lot.
squeamish. He could tolerate a lot. I read the script, and I try to be very tolerant. But by God, there were scenes in this thing where I literally was like, "Oh no, no,
Oh, no.
and I was getting sick. I was actually getting, and that day I went to Universal. We went to Universal Studios to check out because through work we went to Harry Potter World to check out all the rides and shit. And we went on the new Harry Potter ride, and it was really cool, and it was made us kind of slightly nauseous, but it was fun.
Yeah.
I come home later that day, find the script online. I read it.
Great.
I was more sick reading one sentence than I was riding the Harry Potter ride twice in a row. And that thing swings you around like a fucking ragdoll. And drinking a butterbeer and having nothing else on my stomach except butterbeer. And riding that thing twice. That ride will swing you around like you're a fucking ragdoll.
Yeah.
And then I go home and then I read the script and I want to kill myself because it's so violent. And so there's like a wrist slitting scene. There's
that's another thing.
There's a fingering butthole scene.
Let's make fun of suicide. That's another thing. Yeah, let's just make everything shocking into a joke, and that's the only reason that
it would have worked.
Make...
Like you said it before, it would have worked as a 1 minute Robot Chicken sketch.
Yeah,
it doesn't need to be a movie. Like what? I don't know. I can't. We can't discuss this anymore.
We can't.
We spent more time talking about this than we talked about Zootopia.
Yeah, that's sad.
Can you believe that? Let's stop.
We're
Guys,
done.
go to bed. Don't dream. Don't think about this movie. Read the script, but then don't go to bed.
Go watch
after.
Harry Potter and don't
watch Harry Potter. Go to the theater and watch Zootopia,
and forget that this ever is going to happen.
And never eat a hot dog again. We went. Oh, and two. We went to fucking Doghouse for lunch earlier this week before we saw the trailer and the script. And God fucking damn it!
I actually feel better about eating food now than.
Oh, I don't.
I do.
I never thought I'd feel guilty about eating food. Right. Not because I feel bad about eating the food, but because thinking about those food items doing horrible, disgusting, irreparable
I'm glad I didn't
stuff.
Read that section then. So there you
read
go.
it.
No, I'm not.
We'll do a live reading of it. We'll get a bunch of friends together. Someone could do whoever could do a perfect Seth Rogen laugh impression can be the voice of the hot dog.
Oh God, that's gonna be me.
No, I'm sure there'll be others.
All right, good. I don't do it.
Okay.
But we're probably gonna do it at some point.
Oh, I don't even want to see. I imagine this movie's gonna end up on Netflix, and I'm not gonna watch it. There's gonna be a curiosity, and then I'm gonna watch 5 minutes, and then be like, oh no, and just leave, and I'll be done. I'll cancel my.
We're done. Just don't watch it.
Don't watch it, please. God.
You can watch it if you want, just not.